I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. 무뎌져 버린 내 가슴이 뛰어. I'm going crazy. Yeah.
Chapter 11:01 Back when he first saw the mural in the Divine Tomb, Gerald had learned that the woman in white was inspired by the old beggar to separate the coffin from the deity. However, nobody knew where the woman in white's tomb was. Now that Alice had mentioned an ancient tomb, Gerald couldn't help but make a connection with that. Had the woman in white's coffin been carried to the south of the ocean after the separation? Was it currently buried in the King of the Ocean's tomb? Where's the King of the Ocean's tomb located? Asked Gerald after pondering for a while. In response, Alice told him everything that she knew. Gerald himself paid close attention to everything she said. After all, he honestly felt that it was quite necessary for him to head there to investigate for himself. For all he knew, the woman in white could very possibly be buried within the King of the Ocean's tomb. While Lyra had first dreamed of that woman standing by a river within that miasma-filled forest, Gerald remembered her later telling him that she wasn't really sure of whether it was a river or an ocean. What more, the picture of the sun had directly hinted that the jade charms were the main clue to finding the woman in white's tomb. Based on the current turn of events, Gerald could safely say that the picture truly had given them a massive clue. Following that, he relayed everything that he had just learned to Daryl. In response, the surprised Daryl couldn't help but reply, "Are you planning to look for the King of the Ocean's tomb? The pledge of the holy water will take place in less than 3 months, you know." While Gerald was well aware that the pledge was just as important as finding the woman in white's tomb, he knew that he wouldn't be able to rest easy if he didn't at least try to get to the bottom of the incident regarding the deity. After all, there was a chance that he would gain another answer once he located the woman in white. Donation for fast upload. Thanks, indeed I am, Grandpa. However, once I've completed my investigation, I'll immediately return. I won't even think about delaying the pledge of the holy water. Speaking of the pledge, here, it's the mysterious mirror, replied Gerald as he handed the mirror to Daryl. What, didn't this belong to Christopher? The one and only. If you meet him there, you can order him around as you wish. Trust me when I say he won't dare to go against you. Hearing that, Daryl's eyes widened as he said, "Gerald, you." Seeing his grandfather's look of disbelief, Gerald then told Daryl everything that had happened back when he was still in the desert. What? Your strength and training has already surpassed that of the realm of legends, my grandson. Is that true? Replied Daryl, feeling extremely delighted as he firmly patted Gerald's shoulders with great pride. The next day soon came and Gerald immediately prepared to set off to locate the King of the Ocean's tomb. Before his departure, he watched as his grandfather led all the people from the Soul Palace away. Gerald himself made sure to order those from the Crawford family's headquarters to stand by at all times. After all, there was no reason not for him to receive help from his family now that his current situation allowed it. Join Telegram group for chit-chat and fast update with that done. He then headed over to a place called Halamark City, which was on a coast located in Plimsoll Bay, to have a look around. By the time Gerald got out of the ship, night had already fallen. Upon getting off, Gerald was immediately greeted by the sight of several passenger ships tied to the port. There also seemed to be a lot of tourists, mostly consisting of couples and a few groups of 3. Turning around to look at the vast ocean, Gerald squinted his eyes as the ocean breeze blew into his face. Somewhere out there was a place called the Boundless Depths. According to the murals, the old beggar had separated the woman in white from the deity before burying her in that location. How could that old man have been so cruel? If she truly was buried there, she was immensely far from the deity. As Gerald turned to look at the beach next, deep in thought, He suddenly heard the person standing before him shout, "Gerald." Looking up, he saw that it was a woman who had probably arrived with the group of tourists who were currently standing in front of him. Stunned that she knew his name, he brushed his previous thoughts aside while looking at the woman. She looked very much like someone from the city, and the woman who was also wearing sunglasses and a sun hat had dressed herself to look young. While Gerald found her to be slightly familiar, he simultaneously also found her to be quite odd. "Who are you again?" "Haha, it's me, Yasmin Linford. I only graduated a year earlier than you. Don't tell me you've already forgotten about me," said the tall and slim woman while smiling beautifully. She then removed her sunglasses, fully displaying her small face and charming appearance. Now slowly recalling who she was, Gerald then replied, "Ah, it's you, Yasmin." As the memories started coming back to him, Gerald remembered that Yasmin was still a sophomore when he first started learning at Mayberry University. Later on, she would become the president of the university's student union. Since he was so poor back then, he had to work part-time and be thrifty, resulting in him also having to meet up with her quite a lot. Due to that, he was fairly acquainted with her, since she was wearing sunglasses earlier and the makeup she had on was quite exquisite compared to what she used to wear. He hadn't been able to realize that it was her at first glance. Now that he knew who she was, however, he could feel that she had grown to become a strong and independent woman. From the looks of it, she had gotten pretty good at socializing as well. The Poorest Rich Man, The Invisible Rich Man, The Secretly Rich Man, Chapter 1102.